All right, we are excited to basically be interviewing Melina, and you want to say hi?
Hi. Hi, Melina.
Hello.
So we shared a photo of Melina this last week on the team page, and we just thought it'd be more fun to come in and hear her real story, everything behind the picture that you normally don't get to see. So one of the questions we want to ask you is, one is, how long have you been with us, and kind of how did you get started with Beachbody or with Bridget or me?
Okay, so it was about a year ago. It was May of 2017, and I had gone out to DC for a reunion for my late husband. He was a Marine. He was killed in action, and he had worked at HMX-1 in Quantico. So I had gone out there just for a reunion and to meet with a congressman about getting some bills introduced that affect Marine widows. So I went out there, and then during that time, I was a little bit, it was just interesting to go back to the base where I had been when I was 22. And, I could see the reactions on people that I was being reunited with. Like when they first saw me, like I could just tell that I looked not like what they expected. Obviously, everybody changes. I'm 40 now, but we're all in touch on Facebook. But it was obvious. And another big, thing that affected me was the congressman had put a picture of us on his page, and I was just like, who is that person? Like, I know that's me, but that's really not what I thought I looked like. More importantly, it's not what I felt like. So it's not about, to me, it wasn't about looking good or bad. It's just not who I felt I was. So it made me uncomfortable. And I come home and I weighed myself, and I was 218 pounds. So I was trying to, figure out what to do. And I think it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I couldn't sleep. And I saw Bridget's post on Instagram. Yeah, I was following her sister, and then because she was eating really healthy. And then I kept seeing more posts, I think they were from friends that like Bridget. I didn't know Bridget was sister, Bridget and Rachel. And there were, I think, her trainer, and there were all these healthy food options and, just sort of motivational things and exercises that I wasn't really doing, but was thinking about doing, food I was going to buy and prepare, but wasn't actually doing. But one night it was 3 a.m., I think, and Bridget had put on there, she was looking for a few military families. So I said, okay, let's do that, maybe that's like a sign, let's do it. And so, yeah, that was a year ago. Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's one.
All right.
Okay. So when you first started, what did you start with? What program did you start with? And since then, what are some of the other ways you've stayed, like other programs or ways that you stayed committed?
Well, what really attracted me to it at first was Bridget dancing. I was like, that looks like a heck of a lot of fun. But then I sort of like had just come back from Quantico, and I was like, all right, let's do the boot camp one. That'll make me really motivated. And it did.
The 22-minute hardcore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it did. It was very humbling. Very humbling, and it was like, it was easy, sometimes to like feel discouraged because I was like, oh my gosh, this is like the beginner stuff. And I'm really not that great at it, So then I was like, maybe I need something with more music. So I did the, I can't remember her name, but it was the dancing, the country dancing.
Mm-hmm. Country Heat.
Yes. And I did that for a long time because I do love to dance. And then I felt myself getting discouraged again. And I knew I had to like keep moving and just not let that get to me, So I started walking around the lake because I realized that the whole point of the accountability group is just checking in and making sure you're doing it, And so I found it kind of hard to just not do anything and just sit and look at Facebook when I see like all the inspirational posts from you and John and several other people, it kind of gets under your skin in a good way. You know what I mean? Like, it's in your head, it's in the back of your mind, and it just gets at you. So I was like, well, as long as I go somewhere, as long as I do something and I move, and I've got 3 kids and I homeschool them. So I knew I had to find something that really worked for me. And so I just went and I would walk around the lake, and it's about 3 miles around the lake. And I mean, at first, I couldn't even, it was like exhausting. It was exhausting. And then it wasn't just exhausting in physical terms. It was a lot to like get the kids and figure out lunch and, all that stuff. But I knew, like, from being married to a Marine, that you have to adapt and overcome, just adapt and overcome, choose your heart. Yeah, it's hard, but it's also hard to be 218 pounds and 5'4". That's hard too. So,
yeah.
And the whole thing about Marines is you don't make excuses. And so I was just like, I'm just gonna keep doing it. And so I just kept walking. And then one day I was like, I feel like running. And then I remember I ran from, there was a spot at the end of the lake where there were like porta potties and my car, and it probably wasn't far at all. It seemed far at the time, but I was like, I'm going to run. I told my daughter, I was like, don't laugh at me, I'm going to do it. And I did run. And I remember thinking I could never run because I would always see runners and I was like, how do they like just wear their like short shorts and their bras and just like pass by me? One day I was sitting by the lake and I was thinking about how overweight I was. And there was this, I think like the gods must have sent her. She was like, looked like 7 feet tall with like blonde glowing hair. And I was just like, oh yeah, I'm so out of shape. But what I had to do was just tell myself, like, you know what, everybody has to start somewhere. It doesn't matter. Like, it's not going to get any better like this, So
Right.
I didn't care who saw me. I didn't care if my daughter laughed at me, and it was so hard now that I think about it, just to run from those porta potties to my car. It was like in tag where you just want to get to base.
Right.
So you just want to reach that line. Like, that was like such a huge deal. And now I can run like a mile and a half. My goal is to be able to run 3 miles. And honestly, I don't even know how it happened. I just kept telling myself that like I would just keep running a little more each time. Even if it was like, I'd go by a marker on the lake. And sometimes I go to the rec center, and I remember when I would walk around the rec center a loop, it's like 36 loops is 3 miles. And I remember when I was like so proud of myself because I did 3 loops walking and I didn't pass out. And then I remember the first time I ran 1 loop. I ran and I ran like this and I went right off the track into the bathroom and fell. Because I was so exhausted and I was so embarrassed that everyone was going to see me dying. I wanted to like die in private, but I just kept telling myself, like, there was a time where I couldn't walk without getting blisters on my thighs. I had to wear, if I wore a dress, I had to wear pants underneath because they were rubbing together so bad. That's when I was 275. So I just told myself, like, I just have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So that's just, that's just what I did. And so now I'm 157.
Wow.
And I need to get, my goal is 137 because coincidentally, if I was 275, but if you divide it by 2, it's 137.5.
Oh, nice.
So I thought, and I was 137, like in high school. And I had a friend tell me when I was like 275 that I wanted to be 137. And she's like, well, don't push it. You're never going to be what you were in high school. And 147 is what you are.
Just watch me. Just bring it. Just bring
it. Exactly. And 147 is what I guess is like in the boundaries of a healthy weight, like right at the top. And so I was 147 after Alana was born. So I'm like, yeah, but I'm gonna try to get to I'm 157, so I still get to 147 and then try to get to the 137. Just to say I lost.
No. Say it again.
What's that?
Not, I'll try.
Yeah, I will. I will push it to the 137. I will do it. I mean, I know I will. And, I just want to get to that, just that extra 10 pounds that no one ever thought that I could. I had people telling me just in February or March that I was getting too skinny. Like, it's weird, the things that people say to you, because they never knew me at a healthy weight.
Mm.
And I think that people get comfortable with an idea of how you are, but ultimately you have to be happy with who you are, and you know who you are more than anybody else, So that was a big part of it too, was mentally just sort of blocking out everybody else's expectations either way, and just doing it for me.
That's awesome. So what would you say is your greatest non-scale victory? We've been talking about the numbers and what you want to get to and where you started, but let's take something that's not related to the scale that you feel was a victory in your journey so far.
Mm-hmm. Well, I always saw myself as dancing. I mean, I really did. I always did. And I went to a wedding in August, and I had danced, and I think that was the first time I had really danced like in years, actually. And some ladies from my church came up and they said, do you take lessons? And I said, no. And they said, oh, well, we're just doing what you're doing. You should dance. So as the months went on, I kept thinking, well, I mean, I love to dance. I guess I'm a dancer, but I've never taken a class or anything like that. And so I did go dancing on Saturday. And, I hate to make it all about how you look or whatever, but I felt comfortable in my dress, I did. And when you feel comfortable, you do have more confidence. You just do. And I don't think I would have been able to say to my friend, like, hey, you know what, there's a bachata class actually happening right now. Do you want to go? I don't think I would have been able to do that. It was a little bit scary, but it was a little bit scary like it was to run from the porta potties to the car, or to talk to Bridget for the first time. That was all scary, but that's where you grow anyway, and I know that. So that was sort of why I did it. And I also knew, just like with everything else, that while I did it and it was scary, it was going to be totally worth it later.
So worth it. So we feel so blessed to get connected with you and know you through this journey, and be there with you when you hit that 137, and we all celebrate that.
Melina, I just have one thing for you to just share, because we do have some ladies that are on our team and in our group that do have quite a bit of weight to lose. So what can you tell them? How can you encourage them, inspire them to keep going? Because I know, that they have had some setbacks and things like that they're just like, I don't know if I can do it. They want to do it, but it just, losing that much weight, can be like, oh, am I ever going to see the light at the end of the tunnel? What can you say or offer to them?
Right. I would say don't compare yourself to anybody else. You just have to do better than you did yesterday, or do better than, and then slowly you'll see it happen. I mean, I had weeks where I didn't lose any weight. And those are the moments where you want to say, what's even the point? When you're a size 26, you might not feel like it's a big difference from 26 to 24, and maybe, binging on some food or whatever is going to make you feel better. But the thing is you just have to hang in there. You just have to hang in there. I know for me, I'm an emotional eater. So, whenever I would feel like that, I would really think about, well, why am I eating? What am I really reaching for? And that helped me a lot. I know what it's like to look in the mirror and see a lot of weight and be like, oh my gosh, that's going to take forever to lose. It will not take forever. will not take forever. But if you don't keep going, it won't happen. You know, so you do have to keep going no matter how long it takes. And don't compare yourself to other people. You know, when I was 220 pounds and I was looking at the girl at the lake, yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to snap my fingers and be a healthy weight or be a runner, but you have to start somewhere. You have to start somewhere, and you just keep going, and just don't compare yourself to other people. I think it's a little bit depressing, and it can be daunting when you compare yourself to someone else, because you might see a whole lot of weight on yourself and none on theirs, and think, okay, I've got to lose 100 pounds. That's going to take a lot of work. It's going to be really hard. Well, yeah, it is, but you have to choose your heart. You have to choose your heart, and you know what? It gets easier. It gets easier as you keep going. They say it takes 21 days, you know, to build a habit.
Mm-hmm.
And just compare yourself to your own self, to how you did. You just have to do better than you did yesterday, or just as good. But if you had a bad day before, you don't just completely lose it and just be like, well, there's no point. You just got to pick yourself back up. You know, as they say, like Marine Corps, adapt and overcome, and just keep trying and don't give up. There's another Marine saying called "Can't died in the battle of try." You know,
That's good.
When you say I can't do this, I can't pass up this cake, or I can't lose 150 pounds. Well, how do you kill that? How do you kill that word can't, that whole situation? By trying. That's the only way you're going to overcome that.
That's great.
That's really good.
That's great. Okay, so one last little fun fact. So tell those that are watching, what is your favorite Shakeology recipe? What do you like to drink?
Vegan chocolate, of course.
Right.
Is there anything besides chocolate in the world?
People say there's other things besides chocolate, but
we
wouldn't do in this house.
and chocolate vegan with strawberries and crushed ice is very good.
I like frozen blueberries in my chocolate vegan.
I could see that. That would be a good, yeah.
Just throwing that out there. There. Well, Melina, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
You were awesome, and I know you're going to inspire so many people, and we love just being on this journey with you.
Thank you guys so much for all of your help. I owe you guys so much. Thank you.
You bet.
Thanks, Melina. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.